Hello and welcome to Your Business Live, brought to you by Connexx. Thank you for tuning in to check us out. We do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 12:20. It's a way how we can get to know the members of Connexx and what they do, services they offer, and you can learn more about them. If you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, you can type in any questions that you may have when we come on with our guest, and we will make sure to have the guest answer those. If you're thinking to yourself that I look like a wolf and a little bit scruffy, that's number one, Jackie. You are correct. I have not gotten a chance to trim up today because I was so anxious for this interview to do with our moon goddess herself, Miss Debi Tracy. So we're going to find out some interesting, fun things today. So joining us today, a member of Connexx, someone that I'm very interested to learn more about because I've only seen it in carnivals and circuses. So I'm curious how you can use it in a therapeutic fashion. Our guest today is Miss Debi Tracy. Hi, Debi. Can you introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about what it is that you do?
Think we're having some technical difficulties.
I wasn't sure if she got nervous and just froze under pressure as this was occurring. So why don't you, do you want to fix that in the green room, Sean? And I'll go into my tap dancing and the routine that I'm working on for this year's Connexx talent show, if that would be
You
good.
got it.
All right, you work on getting her sound. So I've got the Stop and Shop seltzer, which I'll never understand why
Here
was
we go.
open it. Oh, here we go. I was going to see if I shook it up and put a spill on me. Debi, I was just saying, I don't know if you heard what I said. Can you start off by
I
introducing?
didn't. I didn't hear what you were saying, Chris.
Well, I started off by saying I look like a wolf. That would be number one. And I wanted to introduce our moon goddess, which is number two, which you'll see in the chat, getting all of them in today. Inside joke here. I said that I was very excited and anxious to learn more about what it is you do with hypnosis because I've only seen it in carnivals or on TV or in stage shows. Interested to hear more about it and how it can apply in a therapeutic setting for helping people, as well as wanted you to share with everyone the services that you offer and all the things that you do. So if we could just start with an intro.
Well, thank you, Chris. I am excited to be here. I know we had a little delay in me getting here, but I am glad that I am here now. And I first saw hypnosis on Dateline in about 2000, and I saw it being utilized for women to give birth. And to me, these women were like poolside at Boca having a martini. And I was like, okay, when my time comes, sign me up. That's what I want to do. And that's how I got introduced to it. I utilized it in a method that I now teach called HypnoBirthing to birth my daughter 19 years ago. And I had such an incredible experience. And then 9/11 happened, and my career in the industry of events came to a screaming halt. And I learned that the place where I gave birth was training people in this method. So now, here, 19 years later, I am now training not only couples the last 19 years, but I'm also training teachers on how to teach other couples. And through my years, I've become a clinically trained hypnotherapist working with anxiety, depression, and all everyday issues for all sorts of people. And I've used it myself many times. I get migraines. And once I started utilizing it for that, it made a big difference in how I deal with them.
When I hear hypnosis, I think of someone with a stopwatch back and forth, counting down, and then making
Or one
chicken
of these.
sounds. Or, yeah, and then chicken sounds or doing outrageous things, mainly from seeing things like that on Howard Stern show. And I don't know what's played up. How would you define or what exactly is hypnosis and what is it typically used for?
Okay, well, what it is bypassing the critical mind from the conscious to the subconscious and going into I hate to use the word reprogramming, but that's what a lot of people are familiar with, that we go in and address the issues that are in the subconscious, that those thoughts become beliefs, which become actions, which become your life. And you may know if you want to lose weight that if you go into Stop and Shop or whatever supermarket that's nearby and you go and get the ice cream and you come down on the donuts and all that, you may know consciously that that's not going to have you reach your goal. But subconsciously, there's something that says it is better for me to do that than to address what's really my issue. And if you don't deal with that issue, which we see a lot of times in addictions, if you don't deal with that issue, you're not going to achieve your goal. So sometimes people ask me, what's the difference between meditation and hypnosis? And in meditation, you may have an insight into achieving your goal, but you're not directed to it. Hypnosis scripts are designed to bypass that critical mind, to get past that gate, to dig into that subconscious. And then you may have an insight, or then you may realize, okay, I don't have to have that thought anymore. I am the creator, I'm the architect of my life. I can change that thought, and that choice and that thought, changing it, can create the life I want.
Is that true that some people who aren't open to it aren't able to be, is the term hypnotized or under hypnosis? I don't want to get it wrong.
No, not a problem.
People better or better subjects?
Yes, we are not permitted to work with either chronologically under 5 years of age or mentally capability of under 5. We have a better success rate with those that have a good imagination and follow instructions well. And there's only about 10% of the population that we feel are not highly suggestible. So they have a harder time going into hypnosis. But I do not hypnotize anyone. I know I get that, especially when it comes to couples. Can you hypnotize her not to spend so much money, or can you hypnotize him to do this and that? I can't do that if that's not what they already want to do. I lead you into hypnosis. So all hypnosis is self-hypnosis.
So would you say it's along the lines of like a deep meditation, or is it focusing the thought more than just focusing on emptiness or nothing or not processing?
There's definitely a lot of processing that goes on. You are led into a relaxation. We do breathing techniques, and we go into the different waves, beta, delta, theta, and all. People sometimes think it's sleep-like. It is maybe what more people are familiar with, but there are times that we are in hypnosis. If you've ever driven someplace and you don't know the names of the streets, but you know how to get there, that is a little bit of the part that we deal with hypnosis, because you automatically do it. We don't automatically tell ourselves, okay, we got to breathe, take another breath, got to breathe. It's automatically assigned there, and our brain does that. So there are some things that hypnosis, it's kind of like a zoom lens on a camera. It's not that you don't think about those other things or you don't have thoughts of other situations, but you're zooming in to a particular issue, behavior that you seek to change.
So how can someone's experience going through the birthing process using hypnosis, is that done instead of using medicines or ways of numbing or dulling pain? Is it something that's used instead, or is it used sometimes in addition to?
It can be both. It does not mean that you exclude medical intervention, but the average non-hypnobirthing birth is about 16, 17 hours from the beginning of a regular laboring pattern to the actual birth. A couple, a mama who has practiced through the 5 weeks that we have with audio, with video, with exercises, they can reduce it down to about 5 hours. So the likelihood that they need intervention on a medical Pitocin or something else to get the labor going or get things moving quicker are greatly reduced because they're comfortable. The body, the birthing is just so simple. It really is. It is just muscles working. Just like when you work out, Chris, you pick up a weight, you put it down. The body, the muscles in the uterus work just like that. They just are designed that way. And we have our endorphins, which is like our own drug company. It's great. But society, everything that we hear around us, that our women's bodies are a lemon, that grates on our head. And we stress and we go into fight, flight, or fear and tension. And we tighten up those muscles. And you know, when you work out, if your muscle's taut, it's not going to do what it's designed to do. So with the HypnoBirthing program, it's been about 30 years. We're in about 47 different countries. It is practicing beforehand to go into that relaxation. So when the time comes to actually have the baby, you're relaxed. You know your body's going to do what it's going to do. And each and every, we call surges instead of contractions, brings you closer to the baby. So then when the time the baby's born or be ready to born, your body just does what it's designed to do. It does sometimes mean that there are some other situations that are involved. But even when we have couples that end up having C-sections, they come out saying, I was more confident, I was more calm, I knew I did everything I could do to prepare for it.
My wife definitely would have thought that this was out of this world to have a technique like this, because I told her the birthing process is easy, just like you just said, but she had a difference in opinion. But what do I know? Let's see, Sean, go put a couple question.
Yeah, and that's how I came across it. I mean, I did it for design, to learn how to do it for my mother, for my birthing of my daughter, and it just blew me away.
Okay. How do you help people that don't believe in hypnosis and make it work for them? And what about someone who's never been able to be hypnotized?
Well, as I said before, if you have the strong belief, and it's not skepticism. A lot of times people think, oh, it's not that. If you have a good imagination, if you're good at following instructions, like police officers are really easy to go into hypnosis. If they're able to do that, then likely they're in that 90% that can. But if for some reason there's an issue that you really don't want to deal with, there's nothing, no matter how good a hypnotherapist is, they're not going to take you there because you don't want to go there. And the same thing too, I want to address that I don't get personal numbers. I don't get bank account numbers. I don't get any information that anyone does not want to divulge. It's not some kind of voodoo that's going to give me information that they don't want to give. And if they're in hypnosis and something is happening, say the fire alarm goes off or something, they're going to get right out because your mind always, always, always works in its best interest. So you're going to protect that information. You're going to protect yourself. Hey, Larry, that's a great question.
Help in your profession.
Landmark training. Okay, that's Landmark Education that I've been a part of for 22 years now. Yes, I would have to say that not only does it help me, it was the catalyst for me to become a hypnobirthing practitioner. When I did the self-expression leadership program in 2000, it put me into that space that says, I want to make a difference in the world. And what I can do is I can create a world of love, one birth at a time. So it really is, the team management leadership program really put my feet to the fire. And here I am 20 years later, talking to strangers about their body parts that I would have never done 20 years ago when I was running a 4-star hotel.
Wow. Another question, Sean? Go ahead. What is your training?
Yes, so my training, I was trained by National Guild of Hypnotism. They're based in New Hampshire, and I took a 100-hour course, which is actually more training than I took with my prenatal yoga training, which was 85 hours. But I took that training in '05, so I've been a hypnotherapist now for 15 years. And I take a continuous 15 hours or 15 credits every year, I believe. I also have my prenatal yoga training. I'm an experienced yoga teacher with over 500 hours training in that. I've been trained in pediatric hypnosis, so I have dealt with kids that have bedwetting or stress of test or anxiety. I have dealt with typical smokers and weight loss and such like that. A lot of anxiety and depression, which is what clinical hypnotherapy works on or specializes in. And I don't just help women with their issues before and after birth. I also do help couples get pregnant with fertility hypnosis. So there is many everyday problems, everyday issues that everyday people come to me with.
Can hypnosis work for PTSD or traumatic experiences that someone's gone through?
Absolutely. And I can say that personally. 6 years ago, I was in a car accident and I had extreme post-traumatic stress. And I did work with it. I worked with a colleague, and what a difference. It was the difference of being able to drive or not be able to drive.
What about if someone had difficulty going over bridges or like a phobia? Could a session with you help to combat that?
Yes, I actually had a client last year who was afraid of flying, and she so wanted to go away with her husband. And we worked on it, and she was reporting to me live from the airport and from the flight. And then once she got to her destination, she was over the moon how she was able to do this. And that was just from one session, which is rare. Usually takes about 2 or 3 sessions, but she did fabulous.
Sean, another question. Um, if you can't be hypnotized, how can it change a person's thinking?
I don't want to speak in what I can't cover specifically. So I do know a lot about how the brain works. I may not have that specific answer. I would say just the knowledge of how your brain works and the experience of relaxation and all will be a shift. There will be some sort of shift. It may not reach your particular goal, but there will be some positive effect of it.
All right. And last one I see. Besides for childbirth, have you ever been hypnotized for any other purposes?
Yes, I used it for my migraines. I did use it for the post-traumatic stress. I have used it for my divorce. I have used it for finding work, for new jobs, grief, anxiety. So I have personally used it very much for myself. I even use it for confidence. So there's many different things, and I've had people come to me for a lot of different things. Diabetes. Um, it's just there's so many things that it can address.
Another question just came in, I think. How many sessions does fertility hypno usually take?
That can vary on where you are in your cycle. It usually is somewhere between 3 and 6 sessions, and we meet every other week. It is with your partner that you intend to have that child with. And a lot of it has to do with your upbringing. A lot of it has to do, if you're in that 30% that it's not biologically based, it's psychosomatic. It's a lot of your, maybe you had a cousin or even a sibling that said, oh, you're going to be a horrible mother. So that seeps into your system and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I can't do that. And a lot of the hypnofertility, Chris, happens with young, under 30, because they're in this fight, flight, or freeze situation with their life, that they're always looking over their shoulders. So their adrenal glands are just exhausted, and those little swimmers trying to come in, and it ain't happening.
Got it. It's really interesting, and only proving once again that the mind is a very powerful thing.
It is.
So, all right. So, for information on Debi and to get in contact for any of her specialties or any area of her talent and gift of hypnosis, you can contact her directly at the phone number below or email her right there. She's very easy to talk to. Everything is confidential, so you can feel comfortable opening up with any questions or whatever you are going through with yourself or with a partner if you are looking to go for fertility treatments and all. And Debi, as a member of Connexx, to leave anyone hearing this, how's the experience been for you, and what would you say to others that are considering coming and checking us out?
There aren't enough words to where Connexx is in my heart. It's not just a networking group. It is so personal. I don't want to think about where I would be if I didn't have the support of the incredible network of people here the last couple of months. It has been such a vital lifeline. The friendships that I have made, we've gone out and celebrated birthdays. We have gone out on beaches and boats and shared information, utilized services for different purposes. So there has been business, but the personal aspect of it, when we say people before profession, it's not 100%, it's not 200%, it's 1,000%. And Chris, namaste to you. I so honor the light in you and what you've brought to everyone. So there's no reason not to.
I need to get hypnotized to find out why I get choked up so easily over certain things. Well, thank you about that. That was, I didn't expect anything that incredible. Wow. Well, thank you so much for the contribution that you make, not just with hypnosis and yoga and all that, but you're just such a positive person and such a ray of light to the group. So thank you for being part of it. Thanks for being on today. And I may have to get a gift card for a certain someone so they can get off the island and get over a bridge. But we'll talk about that off air. Thanks for coming on, Debi.
Thank you. Namaste.
Speaking of bridges,
splendiferous interview, and reminds me of the time that I heard Donny Osmond. He was doing an interview about hypnosis and talking about different ways that he overcame being a celebrity and weight issues with hypnosis. But that's Donny. So what you learned from it, Sean, what did you take from that interview?
I think you can hear me.
Absolutely.
Just making sure. It's everything she mentioned. I would say I'm not a hypnosis expert, or I've never used it. And I think it's such an important thing for people to know about. I think overall, mental health is something that, not enough people are tapping into. And, I think this is one of those things that, will mentally make you tough. And so something I'd like to try out one day. So I may be contacting Debi about it.
I like how you prefaced it by saying you're not a hypnosis expert before, just in case anyone was looking at Sean thinking
anyone thought I was
his expert. I'm about to listen to what he's going to say. I'm glad you cleared that up. That's great. And yeah.
And also, I've gotten to know Debi this past month, and she's just such a kind-hearted, good soul. So, I would definitely recommend her to anyone.
That was going through my head as she was explaining things that it treats. I was trying to think of what I could use hypnosis for. And one of the things that came into my mind is, I guess you'd have to trust the person, because my fear of someone saying you're going to balk like a chicken, and then I'm walking down Sunrise Highway in a bathing suit, balking like a chicken, making Marco Polo videos. So I guess being someone who is that ray of light and someone that is trustworthy. And I stress that about everything's confidential, because if you're going to meet with someone about fertility issues or this or that, you might not want the whole world or everyone knowing. And I know Debbie is someone that can be trusted, and she's not sharing anything that you tell her in confidence. So
absolutely.
I highly recommend her to anyone that could use those services. And Sean, if you go to her for any reason, I'll be curious to know how that experience was.
I'll let you know.
So
thanks for having me on.
Hey, anytime. Thanks for popping me into the screen. Well, that will conclude another episode of Your Business Live. Great guest today. Very interesting stuff. And as always, if you're wondering what Connexx is right there, you can get more information at getconnexx.com, which is scrolling across the screen right there, which Sean does so effortlessly now. But we've been doing these shows for, I think that was number 8 or 10 that we just completed. And got some exciting news that we're going to be announcing in about a week or so, where our platform is expanding for these interviews. We've gotten requests from people outside of the Connexx network. So we're going to be doing a little bit more, which we'll share late next week. But if you belong currently to a business networking group, you know the popular ones that people on Long Island use. And if they haven't pivoted or come up with a solution to how they're handling virtual meetings, because they're not meeting in diners or any other locations right now, if you're not satisfied with what you're getting out of the group that you have a membership for, look into Connexx. Website's right there. We have figured out how to pivot. We have almost perfected a virtual meeting. They're very engaging, they're entertaining, they're a lot of fun. And it's a great community here at Connexx with people who truly care, and we put the person before the profession. Yes, you will absolutely get work, but to get work, to get business, to get leads, that's easy. To make long-lasting friendships, that's something that you don't get just anywhere. So on behalf of myself, everyone at Connexx, my sidekick and partner in crime, Sean, thank you guys for tuning in and checking out today, and we hope to hear from you soon. Take care, everybody.